All right, nerds, this week in That Just Happened, we're talking about more zombies, so Walking Dead. We also have Dune 2. I'm going to give you a real quick rundown of why you absolutely must see that movie. Plus, Dream Scenario, Ricky Stanicky, all streaming now. Invincible is back on. We're going to talk about it. Lady nerds and fella nerds, you have tuned into the review show that you cannot afford to miss, and I like to call it That Just Happened. It is the review show that is usually late to the party, if it shows up at all. We will probably be talking about that thing that just came out, at least to some respect. We will also very likely be talking about a thing that probably happened 4 years ago, and I just now finally got around to digesting it myself. Either way, it will be a good conversation between old friends. So let's talk about that which has happened. All right, that just happened. This is the thing. You just saw the blurb and the explanation. So we're going to jump right into Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, episodes 2 and 3. I realize at this point episode 4 is out. I just haven't watched it yet. So we're only talking about 2 and 3, but 2 and 3 is plenty. If you have not been watching this series, why? If you're a fan of the Walking Dead series even at all, then you should be watching this. This is on the same level. I'm not going to say it's as good as Daryl Dixon, but this is definitely on the same level as the last 2 seasons of the mainline series. This is that good. Maybe a little bit better, but from time to time, I think it's going to take maybe, some of the stuff just is there's a little bit of continuity issues that I think we're dealing with, not the least of which being that did Rick forget he had a son that's still alive, or did he not know? I don't remember that specifically, so that seems a little weird. And it also seems weird that if it's the fact that he didn't know, that Michonne wouldn't then, tell him, hey, we have a son. But that just seems a little out of place, and there's a couple other things that really seem like the character. I can't think of her name right now. She's not in the notes. The lady that saved Rick, that took him to this place with the really bad haircut. Like, her character when we knew her in the mainline series was one way, and now her character in this series is very different, and it's like almost like they're not even the same person. So that's taken a little bit of getting around, but that's very nitpicky in the grand scheme of things, just because it's great to see the two characters of Rick and Michonne and really see how unstoppable a force they are, and how really the rest of the world of The Walking Dead acknowledges the fact that these two together are unstoppable. They can do anything they can put their minds to, and that is a dangerous situation for the government at large in this place. So that's really cool. It's just really great, really getting into some fantastic character building stuff here. So yeah, excited for the rest of this season, which is only going to be a couple more episodes. So from there, let's talk about Dune 2, because this one, we should have done this last week, because we didn't have a That Just Happened last week, because last week was a live show and then just couldn't get scheduling and stuff. Anyway, so Dune 2, I've now seen it officially twice. And as great as the first Dune movie was, as Dune Part 1, as great as Denis Villeneuve did that version of his interpretation, this is so much better. I mean, there are a couple of weird situations as far as just the existence of certain characters is ignored. Specifically, I'm thinking of Thufir Hawat, the Mentat for the Atreides family, just doesn't exist in this movie. I think that a lot of these subplots, because these Frank Herbert books are super dense with secondary and tertiary plots and all of the subplots involved, you have to streamline a lot of that. And you have to be willing to sacrifice your idols in a certain way, because yes, it would have been fantastic to have a 6-hour movie where we could cover all of the stuff that's going on that isn't directly tied into what is happening immediately in front of Paul's face. But the purpose of these movies, the purpose of Dune 1, 2, and now we're going to be getting a third, is that we're telling Paul's story. So you have to streamline everything around that idea. So it fits. It works well enough that we don't need to see Thufir. We know he's somewhere in the background doing his mentat thing, and like we will get a bit of that in the next movie. But as it stands right now, it's not 100% needed. It's, oh man. And I also must stress that if you can catch this on a giant screen, catch this on a giant screen. Like legitimately, the scene with Jessica drinking the water of life, no real spoilers there, because obviously you kind of know that happens. They kind of show it in the trailers. Maybe they don't use the vocabulary, but whatever. But the scene with Jessica drinking the water of life, I at first, when we first watched it, because we watched it in a regular theater, and then the second time was the IMAX. The first time we watched it, I totally missed the fact that Stilgar was in the cave with them. So the extra screen real estate kind of really painted that picture a little bit better. If you can only catch the regular theatrical release, it is still an epic, epic movie. I can't really go into any details that everybody else hasn't gone into a million different times before. If you want a fantastic breakdown of the differences between the book and the movie, then go check out the channel Quinn's Ideas. That dude really does some crazy, incredible work as far as things that are related to the Dune franchise. He's starting to get into other sci-fi series like Neuromancer is great stuff. His Three-Body Problem videos are fantastic as well. But yeah, Dune 2, go see it. We could be here for an hour of me just going through all of the really crazy, awesome bits. The way that even though Austin Butler is less than half the size of Dave Bautista, he still is believable as being able to take out his brother Rabban. Fayed is that crazy. Austin Butler is fantastic as that role. So yeah, there's a lot there to gush over, and you just need to go watch this movie. If you have, go see it again. Go see it in IMAX if you didn't see it in IMAX previously, because I've spent just about $100 on this movie over the course since it's launched. So yeah, it's great. Anyway, continuing on, we now have Oppenheimer to talk. That's right, I know it's been out for a while. It finally has quasi-digital release, so I finally was able to watch it because I was unable to catch it in theaters. Christopher Nolan is gonna Christopher Nolan. He just does good stuff. Like, it's always entertaining, whether or not it's sound logically or, you know, whatever interpretation details he changed in order to make it fit for his movie narrative is irrelevant, because it's just that damn good. I think that if I did have one qualm about Oppenheimer, and I do, it's the editing seems to, like, it's easy to get lost in the editing, because a lot of the stuff is just kind of so rapid fire, which it hasn't really been a thing that Christopher Nolan has done previously. So like the editing style kind of took me out in a number of spots. I realized we're telling the story from multiple timelines. We have the current, quote unquote, current time, which is in black and white, and then we have the when they're in Los Alamos, and then there's another timeline. Like I said, it's sometimes it gets hard to keep all of the details straight, and I think that's largely due to the way it's edited. So like that can get a little bit confusing. But yeah, I fully got behind the Oppenheimer situation. And I heard one critique about the movie about how somebody thought it was strange that the climax of the movie was not setting off the bomb. There was still another hour approximately of movie after they did detonate the first nuclear bomb. But I think the more important story is what they were telling, rather than like, hey, a nuclear bomb exists. The story that they were telling is the aftermath and the fallout, the not literal, but the psychological fallout and the political fallout and everything associated therein afterwards was very well executed. And I think that Robert Downey Jr. for sure deserved that Oscar. He was amazing because you believed him. You believed that he was there to help Oppenheimer throughout until you get that switch, which I guess, spoiler alert, but until you get that obvious switch there at the last third of the movie, the last act of the movie, like you absolutely believe that he's there to help. And then, wow, is he not? So yeah, there's that. Invincible Season 2 is back. Episode 5 just came out on Amazon Prime. He just does not get a break. We got some crazy deaths in this one. Like, I didn't believe it at first, but what the hell just happened deaths. As far as like the other superheroes are concerned, the ones that are actually protecting Earth right now while Invincible's off, you know, picking up his little brother effectively. Like this is quality stuff. I know Kirkman, the book has existed for some time, and Kirkman has in no uncertain terms that like, this is already done. All of this storyline has happened in the comic book. So if it feels like it's a rehash of something else, it's because that's something else borrowed from my comic book. So I get that. I just think it doesn't feel like a rehash. So I don't understand the argument there, but it's invigorating to see that these superheroes are flawed to the point where they can effectively die. Like nobody is safe. And I think that's the coolest part, because it actually gives stakes to the storyline. There's no guarantee that Invincible is going to come out at the end of this alive. Maybe for a season or two, sure. But at the end of the overarching story, like, he could die. I don't know. I haven't read the book. I will eventually, but right now I'm just enjoying the series. So yeah, episode 5 was a whole hell of a lot of fun. And at first it felt like it was going to end on a high note. And then you get to the end and you kind of sink a little bit lower than when you were at the beginning of the episode. Because the beginning of the episode kind of starts on a shit note as well, because like we're picking up from episode 4, which was the first half of the season, where we just lost Omni-Man because he's going to get killed by the Viltrumites. He has to go through trial of some sort, and then they're going to kill him. And like Invincible just got his ass beat, and he has to rebuild this world that his dad was effectively the ruler of for a certain time. And he's also got to deal with the fact that he now has a little brother, and his little brother's mom is aging at an incredible rate because that's just the way her species works. So there's a lot of like shit piled on this kid's head, and then he works through it and gets it to a point where it seems like it's workable. You get to the last 5 minutes of the episode and it's like, or not. Yeah, so good stuff. Our other one is Ricky Stanicky. Watched Ricky Stanicky this week. It was our movie suggestion over on the main show. Yeah, Ricky Stanicky is Judd Apatow levels of funny. It is not a Judd Apatow movie from what I saw. He might be a producer somewhere, but I don't think he is. It's just that level of like gross out humor and like dick and fart joke kind of stuff. So yeah, there's that. John Cena and Zac Efron together really make you laugh. Those guys, as pretty as Zac Efron is, and however much you don't want him to be a good actor, I think he's becoming a good actor. He did fantastically in The Claw. He also is a good comedic actor. Like, he has good comedic timing. I think Cena is a better comedic actor. I want to see him in a more serious role. I want to see if he can pull a Bautista and do something like Bautista has done, like the Bautista in Blade Runner 2049. That was pretty great. Some of the more serious roles that Dave Bautista has done, I want to see John Cena do something in that same vein, just to see if he has that same kind of range, because I think he does. He just hasn't really shown it yet. But you get glimmers of that in this Ricky Stanicky movie. You get glimmers of him being like, there is a serious actor behind all of the smiles and the good looks and the big muscles. So yeah, I think Ricky Stanicky's definitely worth your time. It's a shortish comedy, and as long as you're okay with the raunchy humor, by all means, go for it. And then our final thing that we're talking about in this week's That Just Happened is Dream Scenario is now available to watch on Max, I'm pretty sure is where we watched that one. A Dream Scenario, Nicolas Cage is a teacher that is finding his way into people's dreams, and nobody can explain why, and that's basic premise, and then horrible things start happening, and it turns into this weird, almost horror movie, but it's not horror in that, like, it's scary, like the concept is frightening, but it's horror in that it's unsettling. Like, the things that start happening just become very, very unsettling. And it pivots from just pure entertainment. So the first act, at least, until you get to the twist, the first act and a half or so is just pure entertainment. This is just a funny premise. This is interesting, what if kind of thing. And then when you get to the point where it starts to turn into the unsettling, it's A24, so it has to get to that point, right? it's just gets very unsettling, but it turns from pure entertainment into commentary. It turns into commentary on things like cancel culture, and turns into commentary on how we interpret the world around us based on our personal experiences. And just really super interesting on a meta level, as well as on the entertainment level. So it was kind of a surprisingly good movie. Nicolas Cage it feels like the movie is showing this character that Nicolas Cage is playing as sympathetic, but also like you shouldn't be sympathetic for him all at the same time. And it pulls it off so well. Like you start to question, is he a good guy? Is he the protagonist? Or is there some sort of nefarious thing behind that character as well? So yeah, very well executed, very much worth your time. Go watch A Dream Scenario. That I think is everything that just happened this week. Things going forward, we have some more movies coming out. We have Ghostbusters. We have, I can't remember what the other movie is. I think Ghostbusters is this week though. We have another episode of The Walking Dead, more episodes of Invincible. There is a concert in my future, and I need to set that up for the other channel as well. But as we get into April, there is going to be a couple of weeks where we are not going. I have to go take care of my parents. There has been family illness and things. I need to take a couple weeks off and go do that. So we will be, I'm still working out exactly what content is coming out and if I will be interacting with anything as far as what we talk about here on this show. But going forward, we have Ghostbusters, and then I think I have one concert, but we won't be talking about that for almost a month at this point. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. Don't forget to tune in for the next one. Subscribe, like, do all the things. I appreciate your faces. And before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here, and that just happened.